But the situation with the TSA is only getting bigger. It's not going away. Mother kept in glass cage for almost an hour by TSA for resisting over breast milk. They wanted to x-ray her breast milk, which admittedly damages the quality. And she read to them the TSA guidelines, and they said, we don't care. So for close to an hour, they locked her up in a glass cage and yelled at her. It's all part of humiliation, like having a dunce hat put on you or made to go in the corner. It's all basic child psychology. They admit this. They admit that they're feeling you up and squeezing you hard to make you go through the scanners. And they admit that they're training a cadre, a domestic army, for the streets of America. It's all admitted. This is such a key issue, as I said over a month ago, and people didn't get it. We were driving it, beating the war drum for liberty and driving the story out into the mainstream. That's why Google is banning us and shutting us down and trying to keep us out of the news feeds now. Let me read you this article. Watchdog probes DSH spying. Department of Homeland Security spying on Drudge over TSA report. In fact, let me cover that after the break. Let me get to this first, because it all integrates together. Bob Barr investigates TSA stand down on National Opt-Out Day. Again, Bob Barr investigates TSA stand down on National Opt-Out Day. Get this out to everyone. We're going to bring these crooks to justice. We've got them. Body scanners out of use, invasive pat-downs curtailed, in political ploy as TSA mocks critics on their own blog, exposing fact that security is nothing more than theater. These are bullies training us to be dominated. A civil liberties watchdog group has filed a Freedom of Information Act request in an attempt to shed more light on the TSA's efforts to disrupt a day of protest aimed at full body scanners and invasive pat-downs by largely curtailing their use for one day only last week. It was actually 3 or 4 days for my research. The FOIA request also seeks to determine whether the TSA regards the leaders of the protest movements as domestic extremists following the leak of a TSA memo indicating it to be the case in a major publication we've got linked in Canada from their source. The nonpartisan, nonprofit organization Liberty Guard, led by former Congressman Bob Barr, is demanding internal TSA directives and communications pertaining to the opt-out grassroots protest day that took place on November 24th. And if they try to not release it and claim it's anti-terror, then I guess they're saying we're terrorists. While it was expected that the protest on the eve of Thanksgiving would be widespread, causing delays and extensive queues at airports and security lines, in reality, the majority of travelers experienced no problems because they shut it down everywhere. The TSA and the corporate media immediately implied that this was proof positive that the public were not concerned about the new TSA procedure. Just move along, nothing to see here. And that contrary to numerous opinion polls, the majority supported the rape downs and body scans. The TSA even mockingly suggested that, quote, on their own website, what some protesters threatened as an opt-out day turned into a TSA appreciation day. However, it soon became apparent that the reason there was so little protesting taking place was because the TSA had roped off most, if not all, of its naked body scanners and apparently instructed its agents to tone down the level and severity of the rape downs. The New Jersey Star-Ledger subsequently reported that the majority of Newark's full-body scanners, my guys flew through Denver, none of them were on, was idle throughout much of the day, depriving most passengers of the chance to opt out of the controversial screening procedure, even if they had wanted to. At the nation's busiest airports, Atlanta, Hartsfield, there was, quote, limited of any use of the controversial full-body scanners, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution reported. All right, I'm going to shift gears into the really big news in detail coming up after this break. I mean, now they're sending the secret police after us, folks. We got to stand up against this. Spying on Drudge. Because the media will pick up on this and learn that there is an investigation by Bob Barr of DHS spying on Drudge, myself, and others. Here's the article. Watchdog probes DHS spying on Drudge over TSA revolt. FOIA request investigates whether critics of the TSA are being listed as domestic extremists. A Freedom of Information Act request filed by former Congressman Bob Barr seeks to discover whether the Department of Homeland Security has been keeping tabs on the Drudge Report and other prominent media outlets who have been spearheading a nationwide revolt against invasive TSA airport measures. The FOIA request filed by Barr's Legal Guard Organization, PDF linked, demands that the Transportation Security Administration, an agency of the DHS, turn over all information related to Matt Drudge, the Drudge Report, along with other media personalities and websites that have been at the center of the TSA controversy, including Alex Jones, John Tyner, and PrisonPlanet.com. Tyner's don't touch my junk. Oh, he may be an extremist. Don't grab my genitals. Oh, you're an extremist. Let's get Tyner back on to see what he thinks about being, it looks like, listed as a terrorist, basically. Domestic extremists, see, once they do that, they can investigate you. Domestic extremist in reference to a reported TSA memo that was leaked last week, which, according to Doug Hagman, officially addresses those who were opposed to or engaged in disruption of the implementation of the enhanced airport screening procedures as domestic extremists. Cole Watson, I want him to add a caveat here. They're already threatening $11,000 fines, so of course they're listing us as this. Let's add, as for further intimidation, they're listing $11,000 made-up fines as well, which then you actually read they can't even do. Numerous confirmed memos originating out of the federal or state law enforcement agencies, such as the infamous MIAC report, have listed conservatives and libertarians as domestic extremists and even potential domestic terrorists for opposing big government and supporting constitutionally minded campaigns and causes. Barr's attempt to discover whether the federal government is treating critics of the TSA as domestic extremists is key in light of TSA Chief John Pistol's announcement yesterday that all travelers flying U.S. airspace would be checked against a government watch list before they're given permission to board an aircraft, a system some have likened to communist-style internal checkpoints. You get it? They're talking about not letting you fly if you don't let them grab your genitals and radiate you. We'll be right back. Stay with us. This is key. But continuing, think about this. Watchdog probes DHS spying on Drudge and other press. So we need to make this the #1 Google search term today. Spying on Drudge. And folks, with your blogs and websites, you just take our article, you post it, and you'll get the traffic, even though we're blocked by Google News. I don't care. I want to get the news out. Continues. The notion that Matt Drudge, a constant thorn in the side of Big Sis, Janet Napolitano, along with other prominent media critics of the TSA, could be the target of DHS surveillance is hardly far-fetched, considering the fact that Homeland Security was caught recently spying on Tea Party groups, as well as a state representative, Daryl Metcalf. And it goes on from there. The TSA is turning into an arm of the DHS political police force. How long before Matt Drudge, Bob Barr, Alex Jones are put on a list and prevented from flying? Will everyone who opposes being radiated in naked body scanner or having their kids felt up by TSA goons be put on a list? I saw 7 years ago, saw Ridge say, you're going to have government approval through TSA to have a job. You're going to have a card to have a car to travel. They said they're going to have internal checkpoints, remember, with the National ID card, the Real ID Act, to go to national parks or get on a bus. This is the total seizure of society. This is going to be your new tax card for the new national sales tax that they're going to keep on top of the income tax. You watch. They've said they're going to do it. Don't go, oh, Alex, how did you know, when all of this comes out mainstream? They've said they're going to do it. Judge has been at the forefront of a national rebellion against the TSA's new enhanced pat-down procedures, which subject travelers, including children, the disabled, and the elderly, to humiliating treatment, which falls not far short of sexual molestation. Well, they make folks that can't walk get up. They make people pick them up. The Freedom of Information Act request also aims to uncover why the TSA made the decision to stand down on its normal security procedures the day before Thanksgiving in what was a blatant public relations ploy to deflate the impact of the National Opt-Out Day protest. And it just goes on from there. It's a key article. Please search the term spying on Drudge. Also search the term today, PrisonPlanet.com censored. Now they're starting to censor us. And the other term, Google evil. So 3 terms. Spy on Drudge, Google evil is #2, and PrisonPlanet.com censored. Hit them hard. Now, they shut down for a day and a half Google Trends. First time I've ever seen them do this. It was shut down from the 29th through the 30th. Today it's back. Let's see if they put up defenses to block us or if they've got a team live time monitoring this show. Oh, yes, we drove the TSA story out to #1, folks. They're watching. They're tracking. They know we're effective, and we're not going to back down and shut up and go away. We're going to intensify what we're doing. Again, spying on Drudge, #1 search term. Google evil, #2. #3, prisonplanet.com censored. Hit them hard. Nothing can stop you if you take action.